And joining us now to remember the Reverend is former State Representative Jesse Wineberry. We are so glad to have you with us this morning, Jesse. First of all, I have to ask you, from what I'm told, you are one of the Reverend's adopted sons.
Well, he had many adopted sons, to be honest with you. Eddie Rye, who the people just saw in that story, is one of his adopted sons. Former King County Executive Ron Sims, current City Council member Bruce Harrell, and myself and many others. He really was dedicated to building and empowering leadership in our community. And we who are considered his adopted sons were just blessed that he saw something in us that motivated him to invest his leadership and guidance in our lives.
Look at all that inspiration he fostered and wonderful things. So he's a father figure, a spiritual leader as well. Tell us, if you can put it into words, what was it that he had that he shared so beautifully at Mount Zion?
It was, he was a spiritual leader. He was an economic leader, and he was a political leader. Most ministers believe that just being a minister or pastor of a church is enough, but he went beyond the walls of the church and beyond the pulpit into the community. And I think that was why he made such a difference. He started banks. He started the first credit union. He started Seattle Opportunities Industrialization Center. He was a founder of a center that created jobs and provided training and apprenticeships. Many people who are working in the Seattle area today owe their job, their livelihood, and their homes, mortgages, and education to Dr. McKinney. And so he just did not limit himself in terms of the difference he was going to make in this community.
And truly a great way to see what's going on in the community and touch the community by being in it, and that would steep in it. Okay, I have to ask you, how did you two end up in jail together?
Well, that's really a fascinating story, and not many people know that. But in 1985, right after I was elected, I was a freshman in the legislature, and we discovered that the South African consulate was located in our district, in the 43rd district, which was down the street, down Madison Street from Reverend McKinney's church where he pastored, Mount Zion Church. And he asked me to join a number of ministers in a protest at the consulate to free Nelson Mandela and to end apartheid in South Africa. And so I joined them. And before we knew it, the police were surrounding us. We were handcuffed. We were thrown in a paddy wagon. I was arrested with Dr. McKinney, Dr. Leon Jones, and my own pastor, Dr. Levi Benjamin Baldwin Jr. And I'll never forget being in the paddy wagon as we're going to jail. And I was saying, because I was a law student at the time, I said, I'm never going to be a lawyer. I don't know why I let you guys talk me into this. I'm never going to be a lawyer. And Reverend McKinney leaned over and he said, do they have criminal law as part of your course in law school? I said, yes. He says, well, you're going to get an A in that one. And long story short, we ended up going to trial, charged with criminal trespass. The jury acquitted us. We were represented by Jeff Robinson, actually, who is now president of the ACLU nationally.
Yes.
And yeah, that's quite a story. I had forgotten that we shared that experience amongst many others.
Oh, I have heard that on top of being a spiritual leader, a strong economic leader, he was not short on humor.
Right. He was at the toughest times. He would deliver humor that also taught us and empowered us. For example, when we were organizing with the Rainbow Coalition to get Jesse Jackson elected president, to get delegates from Washington State to the National Convention in San Francisco, we were in a meeting, everyone was commiserating that we were minorities, we didn't have a chance, and he said, listen, we already know we're outnumbered, that's why they call us minorities. He said, but stop wasting time counting numbers. Instead, out here in this part of the country, it's important that we build coalitions of common ground and make our collective numbers count. That ended up inspiring us to work hard, whether we were black, whether we were white, Native American, Asian, Hispanic, male, female, progressive, liberal, and we ended up for the first time sending a delegate to support Jesse Jackson, and that delegate that went to that convention was Reverend Dr. Samuel Berry McKinney. He was the only delegate from Washington State for Reverend Jackson. And he had that way of taking a movement to another level with his leadership as well as his humor. And we knew every time we listened to Dr. McKinney, we were listening to history. Every time we worked with him, we were working with history. When we marched with him, we were marching with history. And as far as I'm concerned, he'll never die. Mm-hmm. He'll never die. He'll always be with us because there's a piece of us that still lives with and for him because of the contributions he made to our lives.
Incredible. Incredible life, a loss that can't be put into words,
right,
but a lasting touch on all of us. And I'm so glad you shared that with us this morning because so many things I didn't know. Thank you for letting us know the man so much. We'll be right back.